All right, Are You Killing It podcast. We are so excited. Tonight's event, it was off the hook here at the Sterling Club. We were showing companies how to set themselves apart in the marketing arena from all competitions. We were sharing secrets of what industry-leading companies do, and part of our panel, I'm here actually with two of them. Number one, I'm here with Kevon Hernandez.
Yes,
He's one of the principals with Peak Performance Partners. And then I'm also here with Geetika from Hootafy Hoot
Marketing.
Hootafy Marketing. Geetika, welcome.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this question.
Glad to be here.
Are you killing it?
Yes.
I love it. So when a company comes to you and they say, hey, I need to market my company, I got to get it out there, where do you tell them to start?
Well, I tell them to start looking at their competition first
Ooh.
Oh, that's smart.
and see what they're doing, and look at their industry benchmarks. And that's the reason in my presentation today, I wanted to take everyone behind the scenes and kind of show them, because with a lot of business owners, they're like, oh, we want to run programs, we want to run a campaign, we want to do digital marketing, but we don't know what return we'll get, and that's a very common concern, and rightly so. But I just wanted to give them a roadmap of when they talk to someone about marketing, what are the questions they can ask? How can they first do a little bit of research? And it doesn't take much. You just go on WordStream, you look at what your click-through rate for that industry is, for the benchmark, what your cost per click is, and then go from there.
And WordStream, so is it wordstream.com?
It's wordstream.com.
It's a great tool. I use that tool myself.
Yes.
And Geetika, one of the things I wanted to say was I think you elegantly so put it great when you said, it's all about doing the research, right? Mm-hmm. Doing the research, understanding what your keywords are, and really finding a legitimate marketing company that's going to work for you, right?
Correct.
And so what are some of the keys to finding a great marketing company?
I think before you start looking for a marketing company, it's important to, and I'm not saying do a lot of, I know business owners are busy. They've got they're wearing multiple hats. They've got a lot to do. But I think a little bit of that preliminary research, and I hopefully that was the idea tonight, to kind of give them a little bit of that, what they need to do exactly in those steps. And it's just going to the website and looking up stuff. But I think they need to do a little bit of that research and then set some goals based on those benchmarks, so that when they go to a marketing company, they know what they're giving them also a roadmap and sort of have goals in place, and then have tracking and make sure that company is tracking every single thing and they're on top of it, and they're tweaking things, making changes, and actually improving the performance of the campaigns. Like I said, it's not a magic bullet. It takes time. You got to give the pixel some time to train itself. But once you have those goals laid out and what, it's easier to manage those expectations. I think even for a good marketing company should start that way. So when they're looking for a company that comes in and talks about the goals and the benchmarks and says, hey, this is what we're going to look at, and then we'll review it after a month. I think that's a good that's a good company to go with. Yeah,
because we actually had a business owner tonight, right? He mentioned, hey, I've started and I got sold on the very first company I talked to because I'm lost. Yep. They sounded like the expert. Yes. I started spending money and I got nothing. Mm-hmm. And do you hear that a lot when customers?
Yes, absolutely.
And so how do you take them from somebody that's already kind of gotten beat up a little bit by the marketing industry and shift them into becoming a client and helping them? How does that transition usually work?
I think the most important thing is, of course, they look at your work and that's why they're talking to you. But I think the really real important thing, even as a marketer, is to set those goals and have those benchmarks in place. Because if I'm working with a client and there are no goals set and there's no, there's nothing there, even if I'm doing a great job, they have no idea. They just don't know. They just, you don't have your numbers, and that's why the dashboard I think that you guys have come up with is brilliant, and that's another thing that they should have in place before they put in even a penny into their marketing budget or
That's awesome.
invest
That is
any
awesome.
money
Yeah.
into marketing. Because if you're shooting in the dark
Yeah. That's
if you
so
don't
true.
know your numbers.
Yeah. And then wasn't it fun? We had Ava Rose Agency here.
That
Tyra.
was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and from the PR perspective, I mean, what another great tool
Yes.
that I don't think many small companies. It's usually the bigger firms and the giant companies that use it, and I don't think enough small companies take advantage of what's available to them because it's scary, right? You
Yes.
don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And I think one of the most important things about what she touched upon was the messaging, right? So when you talk about a PR company, you're talking about what is a PR company going to do for me and my business? Point in case, what happened with the Will Smith slap, right?
Yeah.
And having a PR company come in and actually, that's what most people think about.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they're yeah.
And we learned so much more. There's so much
Yes.
more involved with the PR company.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
In fact, I've had clients, and there's very few that understand, like you said, the importance of having a PR program in place. I have worked with clients where at least one client that understands it, and as a restaurant owner, with COVID when it happened, all of that stuff, we did a lot of messaging around that sort of thing, and then reviews.
Yeah.
Because they get a lot of online reviews. We all know we've faced that labor shortage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's scrutiny.
And it's been really, really rough for restaurant owners.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
So when we look at those reviews and looking at and trying to explain to people that this is what we're going through as an industry,
Yep.
instead of just leaving those reviews and not really managing them or doing anything about that. And the other thing is doing a press release, trying to get in that local press type thing, whether digital or on TV.
Yeah.
It's very, very beneficial.
So when you find yourself working with a client, are you always looking at like holistic approach? I mean, are you looking at all of the things that you just talked about? Like, hey, what are some of the testimonials, or what are some of the reviews, even both negative and positive?
Yes, absolutely, and I would say that because I am more of a marketing generalist. So what I came from, obviously, the advertising world. That I was a features writer for a magazine, and then I got into I did my mass comm, so I was part of ad campaigns and doing copywriting and whatnot, and then the world changed and it became digital, and so obviously got into SEO and stuff. So it is very important to look at that from a 360 degree angle. Digital marketing for sure is something that a business cannot ignore.
And I think one of the things working with you, what I love about what you do, it's the research. It's like, when I think we set out to do a blog one time.
Right.
And then the document that you sent out, with the search terms and with the keywords and with these phrases, we got to make sure they're in there. Hey, this is the subject that's trending, and we got to make sure we hit tie on the. And I really was like, yeah, you don't just sit down and go write a blog and publish it and think that's going to help you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
And I'm going to steal your line. You just have to be intentional, right?
That's the line for 2022,
and
baby.
that's how you kill it, right?
Be intentional. We are
That is
set out to be
intentional, right.
intentional.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've got 1 minute left here, and I want to do this. We'll talk about what you guys feel was your greatest takeaway from the event tonight. Kev, I'm not going.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to go Kevin, and then I'll give you mine, and then get to Kevin. You're going to
So
be
my
up.
biggest
you got a little
takeaway
time.
from the event tonight was when I asked the question, what do you think the average return on investment is?
Ooh.
A good return on investment? And did you hear the answers that came from
Yeah, there was like
it was
2 to 1, 50 to 1.
all over the place. To me, that just tells me that, again, business owners don't know what they don't know.
That's so true. And they just come up with these numbers like
Right.
pulling a rabbit out of the hat. You know what I think tonight's event was, what I was blown away about was the diversity of the crowd, and just how many new business owners are attending our CEO events. Woo! And the level. I mean, these are companies with hundreds of employees, some of them, and they're blown away by the new connections they're making and then the value that they got tonight to learn about what industry leading companies do. I mean, the companies that you guys work with are massive, and that you help. It was awesome. All right, Gitika,
Yeah.
drum roll.
Well, my biggest takeaway was, having been, like I said, it'll be, my first CEO event was on April 22nd, 2021.
That's right. You said your birthday.
It was my birthday, so I remember the day. But it's been 1 year, and I think I've attended most of the events.
Yes, you have.
And oh my God, the level of not only the crowd, the presentations, it just keeps getting better.
It keeps
and I
getting
think
better,
it's just
Thank you so much,
It's just
Gitika.
amazing.
Yeah, and when they talk about like Battleborn, this was born in COVID. We started
I
our
was gonna say
podcast.
that.
We were the only company that was still meeting in person.
Yes.
Yes.
Without
Yes.
mask.
Yes. And I think you talked about that on your first anniversary. I had
What
no
did I have
idea.
on
So
that?
that was awesome.
I hate that. I put on my jackets and I look
have a
in and,
mask?
oh, you know what? No way. Oh,
has
it's not a
one.
mask. I was like, I thought it was a mask. I put them on and all of a sudden I
Probably
pull
don't
out and I
have
got a
one.
mask and I'm like, I
Mask
put it
season.
on. So,
Right.
all right. Well, this is Are You Killing It podcast. We are Peak Performance Partners. This is Gitika and Hootify Marketing.
Yes.
And I will tell you this. If you're not killing it, you need to start paying attention to what's going on out there. Get some marketing behind you. Look at the experts. If you're not an expert in that area, find one. Do your research. Peace out.
Yeah.
Yes.